Good evening, everyone. Welcome you all to our online webinar on ArcGIS Pro and image processing capabilities. So I'm Chamodani Vijay Singh and we are GIS Solutions Private Limited and we are professional provider of GIS services for over 12 years. So this is the first session of the ArcGIS integration with remote sensing certificate course. So this training consists of 4 sessions. So the first session we do as a free webinar and anyone can join. So in this second session, we delve into remote sensing and its applications. And the third session, we covers image analysis using drones and satellite images. And the final session, we explore drone to map with ArcGIS Pro. So if you are interested in learning more about this technology, join with us to sharpen your knowledge. So I will send you the training details after this webinar. So today it's with great pride that we welcome our General Manager Supun Sirivardhana, who will be learning, who will be leading today's webinar. So during this session, he will provide an overview of the capabilities of ArcGIS Pro for image processing. So our objective is to raise awareness about the advanced features of ArcGIS Pro software. Additionally, you will discover how to user-friendly the Pro software is for your remote sensing analysis. So we encourage you to explore the wealth of materials and videos available for self-study to enhance your remote sensing skills. So please stay with us until the end to gain valuable insights. So if you have any questions, please send them through the chat box. So we hope you find this webinar useful and informative. Over to you, Supun.
Okay, thank you, Chamadini. I hope you all can hear me. Okay, so today we are going to discuss a little bit different topic. So traditionally we discuss a lot of things related to GIS and web GIS, but today we are going to pay your attention for the new capabilities integrated in this platform. So I think you all know us, but I will give you just a brief explanation. So we are the GIS Solutions and working as the sole authorized distributor in Sri Lanka. And our principal, Esri, from 1969, they did a lot of innovations for this technology. Especially, they worked with a lot of partners in image processing. If you take major image processing software in the world, all of them were partners of S3. But later on, S3 products actually from ArcMap and then in ArcGIS Pro, that image processing capabilities were further enhanced to cater the requirements. And also, S3 having a different approach for this image processing software by looking at sharing data to different audiences. So that means just not creating the content within your PC environment. S3 is thinking beyond that to share the information with other stakeholders. The objective is for decision makers and other knowledge workers to obtain imagery and the imagery related products for decision making purposes. For that, there are research and developments and also a lot of innovations in every year. So with that capabilities, today we are going to discuss the topic. And also, I would like to give a kind of a special acknowledgement and thank for some imagery providers, especially the Airbus S3 partner and also a local agent supporting us for having some images for this particular webinar. So especially, we would like to thank you at the beginning. Okay, so I always discuss the basics first. So started from, if you take the evolution of this software, ArcGIS is purely a GIS software. The software developed for geographic information system based activities. So started from 1981, PC ArcInfo, then 90s ArcView. The capabilities were introduced. So if you take ArcView software, there were different extensions, modules. We have to turn on them to have the capability. So even load a particular raster image, there were particular extensions. Later on in ArcGIS, especially in spatial analysis, and there was a window called image analysis window. They introduce dynamic processing capabilities. Another word, on-the-fly image processing. So that means without creating the file, the virtual mode, the results can be obtained. So that technology was introduced in ArcGIS ArcMap for longer period, and it was transformed to ArcGIS Pro. In ArcGIS Pro, similar capabilities are there, but new capabilities were introduced with a new extension called Image Analyst. So current version of this GIS software is 3.3. So we consider this as the professional GIS product in S3 from this era. And there are few capabilities which I want to briefly highlight. It is part of a large platform. So this platform story is always there. So even the imagery can be shared to the desktops, web, and different devices. And also, certain analytical models can be shared to the web portal. So it is again integrated and in ArcGIS Online. So this web portal, there are two concepts or the two products. One is ArcGIS Online, the other one is ArcGIS Enterprise. In ArcGIS Online, there's a special image serving software called ArcGIS Online Image. Then in ArcGIS Enterprise, there's another software called ArcGIS Image Server. So that means on-premises or cloud environment, there are various products connected to image processing capabilities or hosting image services. So later on, we'll discuss what are these image services. So in Pro, you will find a different interface. Some of you may have already participated in our previous webinars, so you may have seen this interface. So it has different views. So when you add vector data, there are capabilities. So when you add raster data, we can see different capabilities. And again, the layout structure is different in ArcGIS Pro. So any product, we need to get outputs. So the map layouts is one of the main outputs. So the multiple layout options are available with the product with different views. And also 3D and integrated with different types of 3D, some photorealistic 3D, some of them for urban planning kind of scenario modeling 3Ds. So different types of 3D is also integrated. So with these different integrations, there are extensions in the product. So there are major extensions, spatial, 3D, network, geostatistical, and business analyst. The newly introduced extension is called Image Analyst. So this has the integrated capabilities for image processing and various functions. And also the other extensions are there. Certain extensions contributing certain processing activities in different subjects. So Pro is growing as the key product for GIS applications in ArcGIS platform. Let's start working with the product. So I believe without having the slides, we'll directly go to the software and see how to open a new project. So let me go back. So I'll go to my start menu. So the product is available. So you can always open this from after installation. The product is under this ArcGIS folder called ArcGIS Pro. You can start opening a new project. So it's a 64-bit architecture product, and the current version is 3.3. So here there are templates which we can start working, or without the template also we can start the software. So let's start with the map 2D map interface. So let's click. So it will ask you to save your document and a name. I will give a simple name here. And also you can save your document in a preferred location. So let's go to my desktop. Let's click OK. So now it's loading an empty document. Right. So it is having a ribbon-driven interface. So the ribbon-driven interface, you will find a menu type area at the upper level, and then you will find different tools. So you can see project, map, insert, analysis, view, edit, imagery, share, help. So you can see some basic ribbons integrated in the product. But based on the data which we are adding here, there are new ribbons. So let's see how to add some data. So we can use different options here. We can use add data button to add data. Here we can use add data button. Let's add some data. Let's add some vector data here. I'm just adding a shapefile. Right. So immediately when you add a vector data, you will see new ribbons called contextual ribbons. So here you can see feature layer, labeling, and data. So based on this layer, the ribbons are changing. So today our objective is to work with raster data. So let's forget about this particular map. I'll close this map. And I would like to insert a fresh one here, a fresh map. So I'm going to add some raster data. So we can use two methods. One method, we can add data through the add data button, or we can use the catalog window to navigate to particular folders and we can add data. So let's go to the add data. And I have some data saved in my desktop. So I'm going to navigate to that folder. So in my webinar folder, I have saved some data. So first we'll add some data provided by Airbus. So we'll open that. So there are some images. So you can see that image related or the raster layers are displayed in a particular color and particular icon, which we can identify, and we can use that for adding data. We'll click on first file and just press OK. So instead of that method, if you are using these folder connections, what you have to do, you have to place a folder here, and then you can say add folder connections. Then same method, you have to connect to that particular folder. So if you are willing to add data from this folder, you can connect that and you can press OK. Then your connection will be there. Here you can see the folder connection. Right. So let's see this image. So we can zoom in. So you can see very nice image with a lot of details. So it's like drone image, very clear, right? So you can even see the markings in the road, right? Okay. So this is a raster data set. Now we need to identify certain changes here. So you can see the data set is highlighted. So with that, there's a ribbon here called raster layer. Raster layer. And also the imagery. So these two ribbons are very important. These two actually contextual ribbons, they active with the data, with the data set. So when you click on this only, those ribbons are active. But imagery ribbon, we can do various processings based on our requirement. Okay, so let's go to the properties of a particular raster dataset. So those things are basic things. So let's go to the properties here. So you can see the information, the metadata. Then I would like to explore this source, right? So data source can be identified here. Then raster information. So let's click on that. Yes. So based on this one, you can see the cell size X and Y. So you can see it is 15 centimeter cell size image. So very high resolution image. And also there are some other details about this band. Let's see the bands available here. So you can see RGB band R123 here. And there are some other details available with the source. So let's also check the spatial reference here. Yes. So you can see the spatial reference. Yes. It is WGSA 1984 UTM zone 44N. So usually the satellite images are, if it is around Sri Lanka, the coordinate system, commonly we use UTM, Universal Transverse Mercator Coordinate System, for most of the images, but there can be the other ones also, right? Okay, so that way we can check the properties and the available metadata by going to the properties of the image. So if you want to zoom in, so we can simply use the map ribbon and explore button. So when this button is active, you can zoom in. You can zoom in and you can pan. When you drag, you can pan. When you click on a particular item, it will give you the details. So in this case, it has detected a pixel like this way. So you can do various activities based on that. Right. Okay. So let's add another image. From the same folder, there's another image. Let's add that one. So I'm going to use the catalog window in this time. Just add that. So actually now I can't see the image. So what I will do, I'll try to zoom to this layer. So basically it's like in the other ArcMap software or the previous software, you can right click and zoom to layer. Or you can press the Alt key and just click on this image. It will zoom to the particular image like this. So this is again, let's check the properties of that. Past information. Yes, again, that's another high resolution image. Let's zoom to a particular area. So you can see very clear details, right? You can even see a runaway here, right? Also aircrafts. Right. Yes. So you can see a lot of details in this particular image. So this is basic visualization of the image. Right. So I hope you got the basic understanding how to simply add a data set, a raster data set into the Pro environment. Maybe some of you are having certain confusions how to get this data. So there are different sources actually, uh, plenty of sources. There are commercially available images as well as freely available images. But there are different capabilities, and based on our requirement, we have to select and identify the proper image. After downloading a particular image file, maybe in this particular scenario, we have two TIFF images. We can add them into the software. Right. Okay. So I'll go back to the Pro. Right. Right. I think, yeah. Okay. Right. So now let's focus on some specific areas in this software for image processing activities. So if you take the GIS platforms today, ArcGIS, the most of the GIS platforms, there are plenty of data types. So imagery is one particular data type. So imagery data, then multidimensional data. With the time element, there are multidimensional images also. A very popular data format is called NetCDA. So the climate-related models, the data is given in that form. Then tabular data, unstructured data, vector, 3D, real-time on the IoT sensors type of data, the big data, LiDAR, then CAD, BIM type of indoor GIS data. So a lot of data can be integrated into the platform. The capabilities are in different types of tools and extension modules. So we'll take specifically this imagery capabilities in image analyst and the main software component. So for managing data, large collections of images, there's a model called mosaic data sets or raster products. So especially this mosaic, the idea is to have different cells and reference in the images. So it's kind of a method to improve the performance without having large collection of copies. So this can be used in the geodatabase environment to manage information. Imagine you have series of images. Maybe you are having 50 images in your project area or your study. Then this mosaic data set can help you to manage such data sets. Right. Let's go to the next option. Process and analyze imagery using various tools. So I'll go through the available tools and functionalities in Pro, and also there are visual programming techniques like model builder for specifically rasters. We don't call that, we call it a different name. It's called RAS function editor. So the function editor is kind of a similar thing like model builder to have workflows or the visual programming of the processes. So these things are important because there are a lot of raster functions included in this Pro environment. Right. So let's see a little bit about these raster functions. Right. So I'm going to use this environment again. So let's go to the same image. So first I'll go to this analysis ribbon, then tools. So the tools are organized in Pro in this analysis ribbon. So when you click on this, you will find a geoprocessing pane. So this pane, you can search for tools, and also if you click on the middle tab, you will find the tool boxes. So there are different tools, 3D analyst, aviation, bathymetry. Likewise, there are different tools, toolboxes. So let's go a little bit down and you will find image analyst, the main toolbox. So let's open that. Then you will find different tool sets according to different topics: change detection, classification, deep learning, extractions, interpolations, the map algebra, the raster calculator. So these things were in ArcMap also, but there are new ones. Deep learning tools are totally new components. Then math, different functions, conditional rasters kind of things, mathematical functions, motion imagery. Motion imagery means the video based, the full motion videos, georeference videos can be used for capture certain details. So that type of information. Then multidimensional analysis with three-dimensional or four-dimensional analysis. There are tools here. An overlay, statistical. So some of them are similar to the spatial analysis, and SAR, the radar imagery related tools, and some other tools. So this toolbox is kind of a rich toolbox containing a lot of tools for our image related analysis. So this is the one resource for doing image related processing or the analysis in ArcGIS Pro. So these tools can create files. So that means outputs can be created using the tools. So let's check the other option for doing this. So there's an important tab called imagery or a ribbon. Let's click on that. Then you will have raster functions here. So what is a raster function? So let's check this function. There are so many functions. Let's click on this. Then it will load the functions like this way. Right. So let's go through a little bit. So analysis, you can see different functions. So various image related analysis, you can see functions. Then appearance, there are different functions like pan, sharpen. So you can improve the appearance. Then classifications, different classifications related ones. Conversion, corrections, data management. So if you want to manage this raster imagery data, there are tools. So let's check. Let's see a particular raster function like this. Yes. So when you click on this, so let's zoom a place also, right? So in a raster function, it's like a tool, but it usually manage data in a virtual mode, on the fly mode. So let's check this one. So we'll select the correct image here. Then it's a clipping function. So let's see. It is it by default it will clip the extent of the visual extent. So let's click here and see whether we can get a particular output. Yes. So immediately you will see an output here. So I'll turn off the other layers. Yes. A quick output here. Let's go to this area. Do it again. Yes. So currently it have taken the whole map view. Yes. Basically, if you combine these tools, we can have, yeah, let's see. Yes, it has taken the whole area. So likewise, I'll give you another explanation with another image. We can use the functions here, but it will create a dynamic output. It's not a saved output. It's in virtual environment, right? So it's in virtual environment, right? Now you can see this extent here. It's in a virtual level, right? So still it's not saved. If you required, you can right click and go to the data and export this raster to a permanent file. So this on-the-fly process can save your time when you're applying these functions. So that is the idea of having these functions with the tool. Right. So let's go to another one. So I'll go to another image here. Right. Okay. So let me go back to the slides and I'll give you a brief explanation and then I'll move back to this functional editor. Right. Okay. Distributed processing. It's another new thing for you because you usually work with images inside your machine or inside your environment. But if you take the organizations in the world, they have centralized image services. So images can be served through various services and the products can be shared with different stakeholders. So one method is called using a web portal, the images can be shared. So that is kind of a link which you can add into your software and you can do analysis. Then a web portal can be integrated and add data. So that's a one method. The other method is you can connect another software service called image server to existing software and obtain data. So I'll show you how to add some data which is away from your machine. Right. So let's insert a fresh map like this. New one. So we can add data using this button. So we can add data. So instead of using the desktop, we can use portal environment, a centralized or service-based environment to add data. One very popular platform is called Living Atlas. Actually, it's having a lot of data repositories around the world. So we can add some data here by searching the portal. So for that, you need to have internet connectivity and you can search for data. So if you search certain data sets, if those data available, we can add and see. So there's a service. Now this is not a particular image saved in your document. So or saved in your PC. This is coming away from your traditional environment. Here you can see the workflow diagram, image server, and it's kind of hosting site. And there can be raster analytical sites. So these things can be combined and distribute the raster to the different clients. So now just I wanted to add an image coming from the ArcGIS Living Atlas. So Living Atlas can be accessed by anybody as a web page, and you can identify certain products available in the Living Atlas. Actually, some countries, there are a lot of products which can be obtained through this. So here you can see a Landsat service. So we can zoom and see. So this is not a kind of a image which you are downloading. So it's a service. So here you can see a Landsat imagery service connected to your PC now. So let's go to the properties and I'll check the sources, last information. So you can see the information, yes, here. The cell sizes are there. Spatial reference, yes. So it's not the UTM zone, it's the WGS 84 Web Mercator, right? So we can check the different data available here, right? The metadata and also general details. So it's a service based. So if you check the server data source again, it's a service based images coming from a different source, right? So let's move into, this is called a web portal, accessing images from a web portal, right? So let's close this. So I'm going to add another one. So let's close this one also. Insert a new map. Okay, let's see whether we can add another type of data here, right? So here I have some services, especially they are coming from image server. So let's go to the browser and I'll show you this service. Let's go to this service. So first thing, whether we can access this server. So it's hosted in the United States Department of Agriculture. So they are serving images through an image server. So we'll check their server. So it's a REST service directory, kind of a shared resource. So you can see there are images inside this service. So this is kind of a machine readable format. It is given. So let's try to add this one to Pro environment. So I'll go to insert. So there are connections. So there are different types of services. So I'm going to add new ArcGIS server. So if you are handling data with open source related servers also, it can be connected. So we'll connect this. In this case, we don't need a username password because the data is shared as a public service. We'll just click and see whether we can connect this. So now you can see a server node here. This is an image server. So we can access the folders inside that. So let's see this particular folder. So you can see a image server, the icon indicating the image server with the blue color icon, and you can see a something hosted type icon here. So there are images in this server. So idea of having image server is to centralize the imagery and share the information with others. So let's add some data. Let's see whether we can access. So we should have a good connectivity to add some data. Some data, I'm not sure whether all the data is available. So like this way, we can check data and add the data. So now you can see an image here, right? So let's see whether we can perform some task through this image. So I'm going to zoom this area. So let's go back to the analysis. Oh, we'll use the raster functions. Let's go to the raster functions. Let's see whether we can click an area. Let's save this map view first. So this is the service. Let's create and see whether we can create an output. So in this case, we have tried to apply this function to a service, not to a locally saved image. So that's the difference. So it will take little time. So likewise, the distributed processing is one of the key areas in the platform, and we can use that for our analysis also. Right. Let's go here. Yes. So you can see a kind of output created here. So we turn off this and so on to that. Right. Okay. So with the processing power, it will take little time. So I'll move to the presentation. Right. So then the other functionalities, especially the classification. So image classification is very key area, very important area in our GIS analysis. So there are different type of classifications. Some classifications are supervised classifications. So we are involved in that classification. Some classifications are unsupervised, the machine-related classifications. And also there are pixel-based classifications. That is the traditional method, and also the object-based classifications. So it contains in the same imagery tab. So today we don't have much time for do large classifications, but it is again available through the imagery tab. Right. So I will just show you the classification wizard here. You can see the classification wizard and the classification related tools in this area. Right. So let's go to this functions again. So we don't, with the limited time, we'll try to do a very popular analysis like NDVI. Again, using raster functions, I'm doing that. So let's take this layer. So we have to check whether we have the enough bands for this, right? We should have red band and also the infrared band to do this type of analysis. Otherwise, we can't get the expected output. So if your combinations are wrong, again, you will get a different result. So we'll just quickly run and see whether we can get kind of an output here. Right. So if you want to have, without having kind of a virtual output, if you want to have a clear output, you should be able to use tools in the analysis ribbon to get the final output. Right. So let's take the other document here. Right. Okay. So I'll show you a classification here. It's like this. So the classifications which we have done in ArcMap can be done in a similar way. For that, we have to use a classification with wizard here in Pro by providing in the details, whether it's supervised classification or unsupervised classification, we can go into the subject and also whether it is pixel based or object based. So it's a wizard. We have to follow several steps, and we need to sometimes use, if we are using unsupervised, we have to use a schema to do that. If you are using supervised, that's a different method. So I'm just showing you the output with the available time. when we configure the analysis and the samples, again, we can get the results using that. Right. Then let's, yes. Okay. Let's see whether we can access a Landsat imagery downloaded in my machine. So I'll close these ones. Insert a new map here. Insert a new map. Okay. So let's try to add some images already available in the folder. Yes, let's see. Folders. So here you can see a downloaded Landsat data set. So you can see different bands here. The bands combined here. And also the metadata related document. So let's see. So here I'll open multispectral one here. Right. So there's an image now. So this image, actually a multispectral image. So it is combined with different bands. So I'll check the function chain of that. Right. So this is the one I just want to show you. It's like the model builder. So you know the analysis, there's something called model builder. It's like model builder, but it's not model builder. It's purely for raster functions. Raster function. So these functions, so here you can see it is showing you the functions which contains in this particular image output, right? So this environment we call function editor. So actually, according to our analytical requirements, our objectives, we can design functions. So it's not a black box again. So you can create your own functions and apply to images. So that's an advantage when we are using this imagery because we have our own functionalities which we need to apply. For that type of activities, we can use this function editor and use the environment for adding data. So it's simple, but we have to do it in a meaningful manner. So the functions, so if you have the functions can be added like this. It's like model builder, but again, the data can be added. So likewise, we have to develop these functions according to the requirement. So ultimately, we can analyze and run the function and apply that into the images. Right. So I'm not going to save this function now. Right. So that's another aspect where we can use the functions for analyzing data. Right. Then, since we are running out of time, I will go through a few other areas which we can use this image processing capabilities in ArcGIS for auto mapping, auto rectification related activities. So it can be used. So that's another area which is important for both drone and satellite imagery. Then there are new capabilities introduced in recent versions for stereo mapping. So the stereo related 3D uh, certain objectives, this can be used with a different view, not the 2D map view. There are different views for that, and it can be used. Then deep learning or the kind of feature extractions. So there are deep learning models, pre-created models in the Living Atlas. You can explore and see certain pre-created models, but we have to check the applicable geographies. So certain models are good for certain countries. For example, there's a built-in extraction, feature extraction tool, or the deep learning model developed. It is developed for US buildings. So we can check whether it can be calibrated to our one. So the model is trained with a lot of samples and created for those areas. So we have to check the applicable geographies when we are using these deep learning methods. Right. Then there are so many other functionalities also. And another important one, I just took the multidimensional data analysis. Uh, what is a multidimensional data? Actually, it can have XY, the latitude, longitude, as well as another dimension. Maybe time, height. Likewise, there will be another dimension. So that type of data, there are different analysis sorts. Right. Okay, so we have discussed a lot here based on these rasters, and with the limited time, I hope that we have given you kind of an understanding about these images. So it is all about different capabilities integrated in the image processing domain. So there are products, different products for image processing. For drone imagery, there are two products in ArcGIS platform. One is called Drone to Map. The other one is called SiteScan. The Drone to Map is kind of a desktop-based application. The SiteScan is cloud-based applications for processing images. And there are partners, satellite imagery partners, like Airbus. There are partners who are providing satellite imagery. So these resources can be used for analyzing data. So the Pro is fitting into that using its various tools, especially in this imagery ribbon, raster functions, and also the analysis ribbon tools related to the image analyst tools. So these things we can use for analyzing images for our applications. Okay, so with that, I think I have given you the explanation about today's webinar. Uh, so let's go to few questions. If you have questions, actually you can send that into the chat window. I can uh, take few questions and give you some quick answers. Yes, actually, there's a question called how to calculate NDVI using RGB bands. Yes, actually, we can't calculate just using RGB band. As you have mentioned in your chat, the same things has to be there. There are four bands actually. The fourth band is hidden, right? That's why you haven't seen that band. Uh, we have to check that again. So we have to check the properties of the image. I'll just check. So if I quickly share the window, yes. So here also you can see just the three bands, but if you check the properties of this image, the combination, there are four bands, right? The four bands are combined here. So we have to check whether we have composite the correct bands, right? So maybe we haven't composite the correct bands. If we are not, we can't get the correct result. So definitely, according to your chat, yes, you should have this algorithm running behind any tool. So it's not depending on any software. The algorithm has to be there to get the result. Yes, that's right. So actually, we are having a recording of this program. Yes. So there's a question. It's asking 10.2 data. Is it possible to use in Pro? Actually, the shape files I just added, the file geodatabases, TIFF images, actually those are common formats. Certain data sets are not supported. Actually, the personal geodatabases are not supported in Pro because of the limitations in the product, right? Okay. Okay, right. If you have any other questions, please send it to chat. Okay, I think with that, I think we can conclude the session now. Jamadini, anything to say?
Yeah. Thank you, Supun. Thank you so much for your webinar. Okay. Now it's time to wind up today's webinar. And thank you all participants for your active participation and for your contribution. So we have some upcoming webinars and trainings. So stay with us and please contact us for your training requirements. So this is the first session of our ArcGIS integration with remote sensing certificate course. So the second session will be starting on the 18th of June. So I will send you the training details after the webinar. Okay. We hope you had a great learning experience with us today. So we look forward to seeing you all again in our upcoming webinar and our upcoming training. Thank you, everyone.